And the elements of the CARE program that are going to be financed in this supplementary budget are as follows. There'll be a CARE program path grant, Madam Speaker, that will provide an automatic one-off grant of $10,000 to all heads of path households. That is, Madam Speaker, the CARE program will provide approximately 130,000 such grants at a total cost of $1.3 billion. This expenditure is automatic. There's no need to apply. It will be implemented by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Minister Samuda, in coordination with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. Madam Speaker, there is a CARE program grant for NIS pensioners. Madam Speaker, the NIS scheme is the government's flagship social security scheme, which has been in existence for nearly 60 years. It pays pensions dependent on average contributions in terms of the numbers of weeks someone contributes over their working life. Those pensions are half-rate pensions, three-quarter-rate pensions, full-rate pensions. You also have disability pensions and widows and orphans pensions. Madam Speaker, for anyone in receipt of an NIS pension being paid at a rate of $10,000 a month or less, the CARE program will provide an automatic one-off $10,000 grant. There are about 57,000 pensioners in this category, Madam Speaker. The total cost of this grant is expected to be approximately $570 million, and it will be implemented by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security in coordination with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. Again, there's no need to apply. This is an automatic payment through the CARE program to this category of Jamaican citizens. Madam Speaker, there will be a CARE program grant, I'm describing it as, for working people. Madam Speaker, we are a developing country struggling against the odds but making progress. Our per capita GDP is about $5,500 and it's only through steady, consistent progress that we will gradually increase this over time. There's no magic bullet. In the meantime, Madam Speaker, we have to look out for those at the bottom of the scale, those patriotic Jamaicans who play by the rules, who hold down a job, who pay their statutory deductions, and for whom COVID and the increases in prices has made things a little more difficult. For this reason, Madam Speaker, the CARE program will provide a one-off grant of $10,000 to all employees who are on the PAYE system and who earn less than or equal to $15,000 a week gross or $60,000 per month gross. $10,000 also, Madam Speaker, to all self-employed persons whose statutory income is less than or equal to $60,000 per month equivalent. Madam Speaker, we expect to make payments to approximately 130,000 persons who meet these threshold requirements, and therefore we are allocating $1.3 billion for this CARE program initiative. Now, persons across several occupational groups, Madam Speaker, several occupational groups, I don't have to name them all here, will be able to qualify because their earnings, they're on the PAYE system, even people who work in this house, on the PAYE system, and their gross income is $60,000 a month or less. You know, janitors or other, I don't want to specify the occupational groups. We intend, Madam Speaker, the government is showing that it cares and showing an understanding of what the environment has done to their personal economies by making this targeted support available. Madam Speaker, we don't have a database of these persons' bank accounts in the way that we have for NIS payments. We know to reach them, and PATH payments, we know to reach them. So the only way to reach this category of 130,000 persons is for them to apply. through the CARE portal, giving their information and providing a bank account or a remittance agency where they can be paid. Madam Speaker, the unemployment rate increased dramatically from 7.2% to 12.7% in 4 months last year when 150,000 jobs were lost. The unemployment rate has since improved to 9.1% as at January 21, as many jobs have been recovered. Madam Speaker, given that we're still where we are in terms of recovery of jobs, we provided a full year of temporary unemployment and employment support through the Set Cash and Best Cash programs for a total amount of $12 billion over 2 fiscal years. This is a government or a country that doesn't have any unemployment insurance scheme that's formalized. But we stepped up and in very quick time put together a temporary arrangement through which between 40,000 and 50,000 persons have benefited over a year at a total cost of $12 billion. However, Madam Speaker, some still remain unemployed. Imagine you're working up until March 10, COVID comes, and because of COVID you lose your job, and you still don't get it back 18 months later. Madam Speaker, the supplementary estimates, we're going to do something for some of those people. So the CARE program will provide an automatic one-off grant of $18,000, which is the Set Cash amount, to all persons who receive the last Set Cash grant and who remain out of work as at September 30th, 2021. So they're already on the Set Cash program. It means that they lost their job, they lost their job in March. They were employed before March 2020. They lost their job due to COVID. They were on the Set Cash program. They got the payment in June because they were still unemployed. And as at September 30th, they still remain unemployed, Madam Speaker. We are making provisions to be in a position to provide grants to 35,000 such persons. And therefore, we are allocating $670 million for this. Madam Speaker, when you look at these categories, persons on path, head of households, NIS pensioners who are at the minimum level of pension, working people who are they're on the PAY system, earning less than $60,000 a month, people who lost their jobs and are unemployed as a result of COVID-19 are on the Set Cash program, there's very little overlap among these groups. And this is what we call, Madam Speaker, a targeted intervention. Everyone can agree that all of these are categories of vulnerable persons. Now, Madam Speaker, when you add up the reach, we are talking here about reaching approximately 350,000 vulnerable persons. 350,000, 130,000 on path, approximately 50,000 NIS pensioners, approximately 130,000 working people who are on PAYE and earn less than $60,000 a month, and approximately 35,000 persons who are on Set Cash. You put them together, it's approximately 350,000 persons at a total cost of $3.75 billion. Madam Speaker, this is targeted social assistance. Now, you will say to me very quickly that there are vulnerable persons who are outside of the formal system who are not included in these numbers. They're not on PAR, they're not on NIS, they're not on Set Cash, and they're not working people. We have to make provisions that can reach them too. I should have mentioned, Madam Speaker, I was going too fast. There's one other category. Sorry, that's how we get to 350,000. The social.
Fast or slow, Minister, because your time has expired.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Minister's time be extended by 15 minutes to allow him to complete the presentation that he's making. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
What for?
Madam Speaker, I was going so fast. A very important category I left out. Oh, sure, put it here.
It's
So, Madam Speaker, I was going so quickly that I left out the fifth category, which is the government introduced a social pension this year, being implemented by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, where persons who are at the age of 75 or older, who are not on NIS, who don't have any identifiable source of income, for them to receive a social pension from the government. There are approximately 5,000 persons enrolled so far, I believe, according to the latest figures. And everybody who qualifies for a social pension will automatically receive a one-off grant of $10,000. And that is at a cost of $50 million. So when you add all of those up, you get to approximately 350,000 persons at a total cost of approximately $3.75 billion. So coming back, Madam Speaker, we know the immediate thing is that there are many persons who are vulnerable, who are outside of any formal system, not on NIS, not on social pension, not on any, they're not working, they're not on set cash. So we are doing the following, Madam Speaker, the challenge to reach those persons with some kind of intervention. Under the supplementary estimates with the social provision, under that $5.3 billion amount, $100 million will be allocated to the Poor Relief Department in the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development so that they can step up their activities and meet the needs of that element of society. And not to be left out, Madam Speaker, $100 million for the Public Assistance Department of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. So, now, Madam Speaker, we have let's be clear on something, Madam Speaker, that it's not all persons who are informal who are vulnerable. Okay? So we still have to be targeted even when we seek to intervene in the informal areas of the economy. We're targeting 350,000 persons, and by the descriptions I've given you, those are all persons who are in vulnerable categories. Going after the informal, we still have to be targeted. And we still have to have an approach with the required levels of governance and transparency and accountability. We can't get away from that. So how do we achieve this, Madam Speaker? We achieve this through partnerships with non-state institutions, some of which might be closer to citizens who are outside of the formal processes that government has access to. Madam Speaker, through the CARE program, the government of Jamaica will embark on a $1 billion care package food drive where care food baskets will be distributed by the government of Jamaica, the Ministry of Finance and Public Service working with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, in partnership with parliamentarians and councillors, but bringing into the fold as well churches and NGOs, the private sector. Madam Speaker, at this time in the pandemic where we're seeing the effects, food prices are up, we are going to respond in a massive way. Now, a food drive to the tune that we have not had, certainly that I have not seen in my time. $1 billion, Madam Speaker, to provide packages for up between 200 and 250,000 vulnerable persons, and the size will be finalized at a later time, so I'm not being wedded to whether the size of the package is 5,000 or 4,000 or whatever, but let's, using those numbers, between 200,000 and 250,000 care packages to vulnerable persons and persons adversely affected by COVID-19. And vulnerable here, Madam Speaker, does not only mean persons in identifiable vulnerable communities. They're vulnerable persons who sit down in the aisle at church, who are not from vulnerable communities. We want to reach them too. And we're going to be working with our counterparts, Madam Speaker, in the church movement who have been affected by this COVID-19 pandemic, who are close to their congregants and who know people who are in need and vulnerable. And this will be a public-private partnership, the details of which, Madam Speaker, I will come and speak to at greater length once they are finalized. But $1 billion, Madam Speaker, in a care food package drive that's national across Jamaica. So there you have it, Madam Speaker, good policy, providing policy flexibility when we need it most. The government is taking steps to maintain the stability in the economy that provides the platform on which the recovery will take place. Make no mistake about it, Madam Speaker, the economic recovery has started. And Minister Bartlett has been working hard, and the tourism numbers are up, and the cruises, 110 cruises to return to Jamaica by March of next year, and new investments are coming in. So the economic recovery has started and started well, but the pandemic is still here. We are in a position, due to this economic recovery, to increase provisions to combat the pandemic without adversely affecting our fiscal trajectory. Earlier this year, Madam Speaker, in March, we balanced what we knew in terms of the resources and considered how the crisis could evolve. No one saw August from March, but we had to be prepared. And because we were prepared, Madam Speaker, we have found ourselves with resources at the right time. Good policy, Madam Speaker, provides flexibility when you need it most. Uncertainties remain, Madam Speaker, but with God's help, we will recover, and we will recover stronger. Thank you.